Okay, in this video I'm going to be showing you how I make the varnish that I use to apply on the paintings. I use Dammar Varnish. I find this the best. And so the first thing to do is to measure out your ratios. So for this I use a 1:4 ratio of Dammar to turpentine. So I'm measuring out, I figured I'm going to use 1/4 of a cup of turpentine, or about 60 milliliters. So it ends up being 15 grams of Damar. So I'm measuring out the 15 grams, and I'm just making a small amount just to kind of show you guys. But normally when I would make this, I already have a lot made, and so I don't really need to make more. But normally I would make it in a lot larger size just because it takes a little bit of work to make. But anyways, 1:4 is the good ratio for like a final varnish, like a picture varnish. If you want like a retouch varnish, you can definitely like reduce that ratio down quite a bit. So one trick that I've found that expedites the time that it takes the Damar resin to dissolve into turpentine is to put it in a bag and hammer it. So it basically increases the surface area so that once you put it in with the turpentine, it can kind of surround it all. Because if you get big like clumps of resin, it can take a long time. I guess the way I learned was to kind of put it in a sock and put that sock into the turpentine and then let it sit for like a week. But this is a much faster way that you can kind of get it to dissolve within a couple hours. So I wanted to show you what Damar resin actually looks like. And you can see the grade on this resin was A, B, and C quality. So I would assume that this large piece would be like a C quality. You can see the debris in there. And this is a natural product, so there's going to be like bits of bugs and bark and twigs and stuff in that. So that's why it's very important to filter this out. So I'm just hammering it, and it's pretty much just exploding. It's breaking down really easily. So I'm just kind of hammering it so that it can increase the surface area. Now I haven't really seen anyone do this with to make a varnish before. I'm not quite sure why, because it just seems like it would expedite the process so much faster. So this is my jar that I'm going to be making this in. And the first step is just to kind of pour this powderized Damar into it. And it's also really important to note that I'm using the highest quality turpentine I can find. You really want to use the highest quality stuff you can get. Gum is an important word when you're getting turpentine. Gum just means, in reference to turpentine, that it's actually made from the tree, like it's part of the actual resin of the tree. And so that's an important thing that you want to make sure it's like a natural product. It should be like smell like pine, but if it smells very much like chemicals and really like hard on the nose, that's not a pine smell, then that's a red flag. So you can see this all powdered up. It's pretty white just because it's all abrasive and broken down, but it'll be like slightly yellow when it's done. So basically how the varnish works is the turpentine dissolves the Damar and allows you to apply it very thinly over the surface of the painting. And then as the varnish dries, the turpentine goes away, 100% just evaporates. And what you're left with is a very thin layer of this Damar. And how this works is it basically smooths out the surface of the painting, which allows the light to hit into the painting and refract back into your eyes. What makes it very sunken in a painting is basically the pigment particles that are on the surface are not smooth. There's different size pigment particles, and it looks kind of like a bumpy, like a gravel road would be a good analogy. And what that does is when the light shines onto it, most of it goes back to your eyes, but then some of it kind of gets lost and diffracted in different directions. And so basically by having that surface smooth, which is what the varnish allows to do, in addition to actually protect the paint, it will allow the light kind of to bounce back into your eye and allow you to see like the full spectrum of saturation. So I'm just shaking this up to kind of expedite the process, get it started, and it's going to start dissolving. So I'm just going to let that sit there for a couple hours and come back to it. So you can see it's kind of a slightly yellowish, maybe even a little greenish color, but very subtle, pale. And it's pretty much dissolved now, but you can see there is debris in this. So you can see kind of the little bits of bark and twigs, maybe some like insect legs or something like that kind of got caught in there. So that's why this is really important to filter it out, because you don't want that in your actual final varnish. So what I found is that like an old, like a face mask, if I just like take out the filter inside, it works perfect for this. And it's, you can just toss it afterwards. And that's also a thing with making the varnishes, everything gets sticky. So like if no matter how clean you do it, you're going to get sticky on you. So if you want to wear gloves, that's one way to kind of prevent that. But it's nice to use disposable products when you're doing this, so you can just kind of toss it. So anyways, I'm just pouring this in and letting it kind of filter through. Now, an amber glass for permanent storage is really nice, because you don't want the light can kind of wear on the varnish and kind of destroy its efficacy of being able to like dry to a strong film layer. Old varnish can always be kind of sticky; it can never quite fully harden, and so the amber just allows it to stay for a bit, or to be good for longer. You don't really want a lot of air in your your bottle where you're storing it, but I'm just using this right away, so that's okay. So there's a couple tips that are very helpful when applying the varnish, and it will allow you to get it to be very even and like perfect. So the biggest thing that was a cool trick that I learned is, well, first of all, you want to use as little varnish as possible. So those Instagram or TikTok videos where they just pour a big pool of varnish in the center of the painting and spread it out, terrible, terrible, terrible for the painting. So you want the smallest amount of varnish you can do to like evenly cover everything. So that's why I'm using like a disposable paper plate that has like a little plastic, it's slightly water resistant, and so it won't just like soak into the paper. But I can use that to kind of spread out the varnish and then put it on my brush. So you can see I'm going basically top to bottom with the orientation of the painting. And this is crucial. You can go side to side, but you want that final brush marks to be from top to bottom from how it's being displayed. And what this basically does is the varnish it will kind of spread out as you apply it, but there could be the possibility of having slight kind of grooves into the varnish. And if you're applying the varnish at a horizontal angle, basically the way the light's going to be from above you, whether it's natural light or artificial light, the light's coming from above. So you're going to get this perpendicular effect of the light coming from above and the grooves hitting diagonally, and you're going to get like these lines if there is any grooves. If you do this from top to bottom, if there is any lines, you won't be able to see them at all. And I haven't really had any issues with the lines, but it's just one kind of safety mechanism, because the painting's always going to be displayed with the light coming from the top. So you want to make sure that those brushstrokes are going parallel to the light source, so that you don't get any glare or reflection or anything like that, or try to minimize that. So after I cover this all, I'm kind of going back over. I'm like moving my head and kind of using my eyes to kind of catch the light and figure out where using the glare to kind of see where it's missing varnish. And I'm basically kind of going back over and just using the weight of the brush itself pretty much, just to kind of smooth out and basically go back over and just kind of smooth it out. Now, one thing that's really cool with applying and making your own varnish is you can actually control how glossy the varnish is. So basically, the more times you kind of go over it very, very gently, as the varnish starts setting up, and you start basically as you go over it while it's starting to set up, it basically gives a bit of texture to it, and that basically emulates the effect of like a bit more of like a gravel road. So it bounces the light away from you a little bit more, and so the more times you go over it as it's setting up, the more matte the varnish is going to be. So for my situation, I want it to stay very glossy, so I'm going to be doing that to the minimum, just to make sure that there's no grooves in between the brush marks. But I'm not going to be trying to abrasive the surface at all while it's drying, which it sets up very fast. I only have a couple minutes really once I start. So then after I let it dry, I turn it away so it doesn't get dust, and I let it dry for like at least 24 hours. It will be nice and saturated, and it will stay like this forever. It's not very tacky. It'll be tacky for like the first 24 hours, and then it shouldn't be tacky. And so you can see kind of the saturation, how you can see the darks and the depths a lot more, and how even it is. So that's pretty much the basis of how I make and apply the Dammar varnish. You do have to be careful though. Also, you want to make sure your painting is like at least 2 weeks of like solid touch dry at the minimum, because if you do it while it's still wet, basically the varnish will soak into the painting and you'll basically imbue that varnish into the painting instead of putting it as a layer on top, which is what you ideally want for a varnish.